Session. The theme of the session is growing role of CSR in making Atmanirbhar Bharat, CSR in practice. And the speakers, I would like to invite you, Mr. Rajan Kumar, Director, Vision Access Program, Vision Spring. Sir, please come on the stage. Dipanwita Chakraborty, Business Director, Corporate Responsibility and Sustainable Development, Asia Pacific Project. Ma'am, please come on the class. Krishna Hazarika Rao, DCM HR, Oil India. Ma'am, please.
Namaskar, good evening. I hope you are all awake. अभी कहते हैं कि सिटिंग इज द न्यू स्मोकिंग. तो जो लोग खड़े होकर भोजन कर रहे हैं उनको तो मैं कहूँगा अभी डेजर्ट अभी यहाँ है. एंड बिलीव मी फॉर एवरीवन एल्स वी हैव सेव्ड द बेस्ट फॉर द लास्ट. वी विल बी कंसाइज, क्रिस्प एंड बिलीव मी यू विल फाइंड इट लाइक अ डेजर्ट. तो रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा कि जो बहुत देर से बैठे हुए हैं खड़े हो सकते हैं थोड़ी देर के लिए. थोड़ा अभी भी हाथ पाँव ला सकते हैं, फिर से बैठ जाएं. So yeah. So before we begin, let me give you a little bit of background. The last panel, fourth panel, the topic is a big one. It's a long topic, growing role of CSR in making Atmanirbhar Bharat. But we skip that because we have been listening to the entire thing, the history, the current scenario, the roadblocks, everything. So last part है ना, CSR in practice. We'll cover that one. And every panelist, we did some huddle. हम लोगों ने बातें की, सुनाए तुझे. And believe me, इनके पास जो आप देख रहे हैं बैकग्राउंड है, जो स्टोरीज इनकी होंगी, उसी में सारी चीजें कवर होंगी. तो मैं थोड़ा सा नाम बता दूं. आप इधर देख रहे हैं मैडम कृष्णा राव जी हैं, कृष्णा हजारिका राव जी, राजन कुमार जी हैं, देन वी हैव दीपनविता मैम एंड ऑफ कोर्स गौरव जी, और मैं रमाकांत. तो मैं चाहूँगा वन बाय वन इट विल बी वन राउंड ओनली. And what I will ask every panelist, beginning with ma'am from that end, every panelist, कि अपने बारे में, अपनी स्टोरी से, अपनी प्रैक्टिसेस को बताएंगे, with two things in mind. जो opportunities क्या आ रही हैं, innovations क्या हो रहे हैं, and what is the futuristic view. अपनी केस निजी अपने सेल्फ के अनुभव से, अपना जो खुद का अनुभव है, खुद की स्टोरी है, वो शेयर करें ताकि हार्ट टू हार्ट हमारा कनेक्ट बन पाए. So first, I request Krishna Rao, please.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. And I know it's a very difficult time. We'll be taking our time, but nonetheless, I'm Krishna Hazarika Rao, and I might be the only one from the public sector undertaking, from the government side, maybe. And I'm sure you'll be interested in listening to our story. Because this ESG Summit, Ideate, Impact, Sustain, I in fact represent all the three segments of being a CSR beneficiary, of being a CSR practitioner and an HR enabler. Why a CSR beneficiary? Because I joined the company as a 16-year-old as a spokesperson in Oil India Limited when I was in class 11. The company recruited me of course, with a why to sustain my sportsmanship. And I went on to represent India. And presently, I am the mentor with Padma Bhushan Pullela Gopichand Badminton Gurukul. I am also supports the Brahmaputra Volleyball League, which is one passion which I will be coming to. But nonetheless, I was just jotting down what other panelists were saying in the previous panels, like how to sustain or how to calculate the impact. I would say Oil India has been here. In 1959, oil became Oil India Private Limited between Burma Oil Company and Government of India. Then 1981, it became a public sector undertaking. And since then, we have been doing CSR. I was the coordinator when the CSR bill was tabled in the Parliament from Oil India. After that, in 2013 or 14, I was invited by Fiki and Worship Band to Bombay to sort of discuss on, like, they were like asking me, where are the PSU funds? We are not getting the funds, where are the funds? So that from that point of time, it's 10 years now, so that time I asked them, where are you all? I don't see you all in our Northeast. So that time it started. Next, when it happened in G20, where I happened to meet Abhishek ji, and we are sharing the forum on care economy, and now here. So in this entire 10 years, I could see how the CSR platform has grown in the country, and it really delights me that it has come to this stage. But before that, I'd also like to speak on what Oil India does, and Oil India does quite a lot. I'll just give a small brief on that. If I can get this time, sir. We have lots of projects, and most of the projects, if I talk about mobile health, or we talk about Super 30 project, or we talk about education, the numbers we touch are in lakhs. 13 lakhs, 14 lakhs, 10,000, 20,000. It's not like, the numbers of beneficiaries is unless. And what we get from it? It is like we get the ownership of the people of that area, because we are in a mining business. So we have to be very responsible to our stakeholders. The population of the state, they really believe that Oil India is their company. It's not our company, it's not a government company, it's the people's company. So that's the impact we have by doing CSR in the Northeast. So that is one. Then another thing is that when you talk about individual social responsibility, so it is not like we don't have a strategy. The company doesn't have a strategy to say that, okay, you volunteer for this, you volunteer for that. Over the years of doing CSR, it is sort of ingrained in our culture that we volunteer. And one of this volunteering project which happened in, sir, can I continue or sort of, I can come to that later?
Yeah, actually, we are slightly short of time.
Yeah, I'll come to that later because...
we have only one round, so please complete.
Okay, fine, thank you. So this happened in 2020. Okay. So just cut me short if I'm prolonging.
Five minutes.
So basically what happened is 2020, basically I'm a sportsman, and like I have my roots there. So Abhijit Bhattacharya, who is an ONGC CSR, he handles there. He came out with a post. He was the Indian volleyball team captain at one point of time. That he's supporting. He has come out with this thing that he's supporting a rural volleyball program in Assam. So he wanted a donation. He said like I would accept anything for a bunch of bananas or a kilo of rice to 14,000 rupees if anyone adopts a team. So I was wanting to do something in the area. I was transferred to Guwahati, and I really wanted to do something at that point in time. So I said, okay, I'll pick up a team. So myself, my fellow player Asawari Parmar from Bombay, and Aparna Popat, two-time Olympiad, we each picked up team. My husband and his alumni picked up the team. And then the alumni group, in fact, like made the BVL logo, and then, it was promoted to a different level. I'll just cut it short. In the first BVL, we had 25 boys team and 8 girls team, which were supported by the people. Like I adopted one team, the Majuri team, which is one of the largest riverine island and one of the worst flood-affected areas of Assam. So those children, they had not even worn, around 90% of children had not even worn sports kit in their lives. They have not even got out of the villages in their lives. And for the first time, they have gone out from the villages. And that time, only 25 plus 8 teams were there. And BVL went on to attract national and international media attraction. And now, when the third BVL happened, there were 40,000 meals were served, 5,000 volunteers were there, 450 teams participated, and it became a rage all over India how it can be replicated. It is a grassroots movement, it is very democratic, which can be replicated very well. And this is now recognized by the International Volleyball Federation as the best grassroots volleyball program in the world. So this is one initiative that as a first mover that we do. I am still associated with Brahmaputra Volleyball League, and my contribution is still $100, not more than that. But then imagine the impact this created. Now, RuPay has associated with it, Oil India has associated. Oil India at that point of time when it started, the Bagjan fire had happened in Upper Assam, which is a major disaster covered by Discovery Channel also. So it happened, and the stakeholder trust in the company had just reduced, it just went down southwards, and we had to get back that stakeholder confidence. So my RC, after first volleyball league when it happened and they were following, the management was following, they called me and Abhijit Bhattacharya to Duliajan. They asked me, no, you need to replicate in our operational areas. We need to get the confidence of the people back. So that's where we sort of started a camp, a volleyball camp, to teach around 300 children. Those 300 children, a second volleyball league, they participated in Duliajan. And in fact, at that point of time, RC thought, he said like, we will hold the finals in Guwahati. I said, why sir, why are we holding in Guwahati? Why are we going to house these children and all the managers, all the officials? I said, sir, when I was a player, when we used to go for school games, we used to stay in the school classrooms. We have this Oil India Higher Secondary School. The school can be converted into the makeshift, housing facility. And accordingly, he did that, and the classrooms were transformed. The auditorium was made into a makeshift dining hall to reduce plastic usage and all those things. All the children were asked to bring their own plates and glasses. The children got it. And the way it happened, the euphoria that happened, we got the trust, the stakeholder trust back so easily. The way it was lost, we really got it back, and it is really doing well. So this is one of my flagship projects. Thank you, sir.
So nice, so lovely. Can we feel the passion? PSU के executive, PSU का CSR. I've been in PSU. I know how mechanically it is normally done. So I hope it did make an impact. फर्क पड़ा ना? Thank you.
और एक छोटी सी चीज मैं डॉक्टर ऋषि तिवारी के आगे कहना चाहती हूँ. Just one minute. Yeah. We this creches. We supported development of these creches in the jails. Until now, we have developed 4 creches because in India, 2006, the Supreme Court ruling had come where they said like the creches are because 6 years below children have to stay with the mothers. So there are no creches in India. And in 2019, only 4 states here: Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Delhi, and Chandigarh. And 2023, the Baikula jail first time with a creche. Now on our this thing, we have now started opening creches in the jail. Thank you.
So wonderful, so nice, so wonderful. Yes, once again, a round of applause for Madam Krishna Hazarika Rao. So nice, full of passion, heart to heart connect, I hope. Now comes, younger professional from my same alma mater, MBI Gurgaon, Rajan Kumar. So I'll request him to share his bit of the story that he has done.
Good evening. So I take care of the Vision Spring operation for India. What we are trying to do, we are just trying to build the economic power of the people and ultimately the gross domestic productivity of the country. And by doing it a very simple tool which is completely ignorant in our country. So what we do basically, we just do the eye screening and provide a pair of eyeglasses. So the importance is, this is 700-year-old technology, and if you see currently in India, there are 60 crore people who require eyeglasses, what data says. And out of that, 35 crore people have access, 22.5 crore people have no access at all. So this is one of the biggest disability in this country, right? And the funniest part is, why this has been ignored, neither the government is sensitive about that, nor the people are sensitive about that. What we have identified that the positioning of this problem has been parked wrongly. So we have parked this problem under healthcare bucket. So what Vision Spring, we want to try that, we want to make the strategic shift so that that problem which has been parked under healthcare, their entire advocacy should shift from the productivity enhancement, learning outcome and the road safety. Maybe then people will start realizing what they are losing and they are starting adopting the eyeglasses. Because from the health perspective, it is not the chronic disease like typhoid or fever or etc. So people are not sensitive about that. So they are feeling that they are losing nothing. But when they realize that because of the eyeglasses what they are losing, they will start adopting the eyeglasses. And we have done the study, and the study says by providing a pair of eyeglasses, we can increase the productivity by 22 to 33%, which has been published by Lancet as the government highest journal of the healthcare fraternity. So if our calculation says, if we are able to provide a pair of eyeglasses to all those 25 crore people who have no access for that, we are able to increase the productivity and the GDP of this country by 5%. So doing this simple intervention, how much impact we can create at the country level, that mission we are changing in the country. That has been a very simple intervention. Everyone in the country know about the eyeglasses. There is no scarcity of the awareness, but people are ignoring that because everyone is thinking this intervention from the healthcare perspective. And for the government, because country is the mammal, this list is so huge, it is coming at the very bottom level. So that's why we are trying to make the changes in the shift of the thinking so that people start adopting the eyeglasses. And for that, it's not only the funding required, mostly it's required the cross-sectoral partnership so that the other CSR or other NGOs who are working in the different segment for the children, for the road safety, for the livelihood, they start looking from that perspective how the eyeglasses is also going to add the livelihood opportunity. They can earn more. So let's say people are running 300 rupees per day, and because of the eyeglasses, if we are able to increase 20% productivity, that people can earn at least 60 rupees more every day. So we can think that the person whose entire family is running for 300 rupees per day, addition of 60 rupees earning per day, how much happiness and how much the entire family can drink the milk and eat sweets every day. So that's the perspective we wanted to bring in the country. So that's why how we are working currently. On an average, we are doing 28 to 30 lakhs people in the country. But more than funding, we are looking for the cross-sectoral collaboration so that everyone can sensitize this problem, because intervention cost is very, very low. The only requirement is people should be sensitized what they are losing in their life. Thank you.
So nice, so wonderful. Chris, concise, to the point, and full of compassion and empathy. शब्द नहीं है, innovation across sector is the word, and vision, class छोटी सी चीज, इतना बड़ा impact. Thank you so much, Rajan ji. It was so well said and very graceful. Now comes another, dynamic leader in the development sector, working with a giant of a corporation, and she will share, introducing yourself first, about the story and particularly touching upon the innovation or challenges or opportunities. Please, Dipanwita.
Thank you. First of all, big gratitude for having us here. As I was driving from the airport, it was really nice to see the street lined up with such beautiful trees. It's such a green patch. It was such a delight to drive through that entire patch. This is my first time in Raipur, so just looking at the city, it just was completely delightful. Thank you so much for that. Now, as I introduce myself and the organization that I come from, I do want to make a point, and to everybody over there who is also busy eating and enjoying their food, is that food has a strong and a very compelling story to tell, right? The food that we put on our plate, everybody's table, has a very compelling story to tell. And I work for a company which is 158 years old, based out of Minnesota, with business across 70 countries and 160,000 people working for the organization. And all we do is to move food so that the food can be put on the plates of everybody who deserves the food to be eaten. Now, this is a very complex mechanism. It's a food systems conversation, and we work from the producers, who are the farmers, who actually produce the food, to moving the food from the places of surplus to places of deficit where it is required, from country to country, from places to places, and also ensuring that it is done safely, it is done sustainably, and it is done to nourish the people who will eat the food. So it does create quite a complex mechanism for us. And how do we do it? Through teamwork. We can't, as Kargil, I can't sit here and we cannot take credit for doing everything ourselves. We work with the farmers who are producing the food. We work with them so that they are doing that work sustainably. We work with the entire transport system to move it, again, in a way that is sustainably done. And then produce it and process it with organizations that process it to get it to the end consumer. And then also work to create awareness about the food that people are eating. So it's an entire value chain conversation for all of us to have. Just a few examples, if I may cite, from the perspective of working with farmers and how innovation really plays a big role. See, corporate responsibility, we call it corporate responsibility at Cargill because it's just not social. There is a big intersectionality of social, environment to it, and the governance piece of it that comes in. And somebody was saying in the previous panel that there are a lot of terms and sort of words that we use that can get a little confusing and can make a complex network. But at the end of the day, I think what we're trying to do is to do the right thing, help people reach higher, and again, put food on the table of people who need the food, right? I'll give an example of a program that we do in Orissa, in India. We work with 30,000 women smallholder backyard poultry farmers who were otherwise also doing backyard poultry. It's a very common thing to do in the rural economy, right? But to work with them to develop practices where they can have a chicken coop in their own house, where the free-range chickens can breed in the way that naturally they would do, but then they can have disease resistance through, again, organizing with the veterinary system and so forth. They can have the right kind of nutrition for the chickens. And what happened as a result of this was, and remember this with the women who were making those decisions, and when they started to earn more livelihood from that, they started to make much better decisions for their household, for the education of their kids, the nutrition decision in the household. So I just wanted to kind of put an emphasis on when you give ammunition to women in a rural economy as well, the power that it generates by the sheer decision making that she makes for her own family and the agency that she finds for herself to be able to create that anchoring place for herself in the entire society. Today we have at least 6,000 to 7,000 of those women leaders who are actually championing the cause in the state, where we do not necessarily have to go and push them to do what they need to do. I think that's the power, and I wanted to bring this example simply because I hope that when we hear stories like this, in some of your minds you might think, oh, is this replicable in the work that we are doing in my company and so forth. And I'm very happy to chat with any one of you who might be interested to learn more. So that's in the interest of time. I think I'll just give this one example and stop here, and thank you for being a patient listener. Thank you.
So nice, so nice. When we were, management students, that time C.K. Prahlad's core competence came into prominence. So what she does, Dipanwita ji, what her organization does, it revolves around the core competence. She has also around her own core competence. So wonderful, so nice. So now we have the fourth panelist, and his initiative is really very unique. When we were huddling together, I was thrilled to listen to his green tea. So before you, here is Gaurav Ahuja ji, please.
नमस्कार.
Gaurav Ahuja ji.
ग्रीन गड्डी एक छोटा सा कॉन्सेप्ट शुरू किया है, मतलब अपनी तरफ से शुरू किया था. ये स्टोरी स्टार्ट होती है एक पेन पॉइंट से जो 2016 में, अगर हमें याद हो सबको, कि अब ट्रेंड बन चुका है कि दिवाली के बाद ना हम प्रदूषण की छुट्टी बनाते हैं, और वो हम बड़े चाव से मनाते हैं कि अब 4 दिन 5 दिन, जो खासकर नॉर्थ इंडिया में जब 4-5 दिन छुट्टी रहेगी, स्कूल बंद रहेगा, कुछ ना कुछ रहेगा. तो 2016 में शुरुआत हुई थी, तो उसका एक पेन पॉइंट था कि अल्टीमेटली हम छोड़ के क्या जा रहे हैं. I have been fortunate enough being a part of Dr. Kalam's team. उनका एक इनिशिएटिव था वर्क के लाइब्रेरी, उसका पार्ट रहा हूँ. सो उनका ये कहना होता था कि अगर आप गरीब से भी गरीब हो तो आप एक स्माइल गिवर बन सकते हो, कुछ दे सकते हो. सो एक उस सोच के साथ जैसे हम अभी बात कर रहे हैं इंडिविजुअल सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी की, तो आई एम द सॉल्यूशन करके एक कैंपेन हम लोगों ने स्टार्ट किया कि इसके अंदर हमें हर एक को अपने आप को कहना होगा आई एम द सॉल्यूशन. जब आत्मनिर्भर भारत की बात प्रधानमंत्री जी करते हैं तो 125 साल पहले स्वामी विवेकानंद ने भी यही बात बोली थी. जब वर्ल्ड रीजनल कांग्रेस में गए थे 1893 में, तब भी उन्होंने ये बात बोली थी कि सेल्फ रिलायंट बने बिना हम भारत को 21वीं शताब्दी का भारत नहीं बना पाए. आज की अगर हम भारत के बनाने की बात करते हैं तो हमें इंडिविजुअल गवर्नेंस की बात करनी होगी. तो ग्रीन गड्डी इसी कॉन्सेप्ट का था कि गाड़ी की छत पे हमने पौधा लगाए थे उस पौधे का कॉन्सेप्ट ये था कि जो पूरा दिन हम गाड़ी चलाते हैं उसका कहना है कि कार्बन ऑफसेटिंग हम करते हैं, अपना जो कार्बन फुटप्रिंट है उसको रिड्यूस करते हैं। अपने लिए फायदा सबसे बड़ा ये है कि गाड़ी की छत ठंडी रहती है तो आपका एसी कंजम्पशन भी कम होता है। सो एक इनिशिएटिव सिर्फ ये नहीं है कि आपने सिर्फ ग्रीनरी क्रिएट करने के लिए किया। इस ग्रीनरी से आप सोचें कि अगर आप एक ट्रैफिक सिग्नल पे खड़े हैं और चारों तरफ आप देखते हैं तो किसी भी मूवमेंट में किसी भी शहर में एक ट्रैफिक सिग्नल पर 100-150 गाड़ी कम से कम होती है चारों तरफ आप काउंट करें। और वो इतना बड़ा स्ट्रेस बस्टर है लोगों के लिए, रोड रेज के केसेस जब बढ़ रहे हैं कि लोग एक दूसरे से कंपेरिजन नहीं करेंगे कि इसके पौधे अच्छे हैं या उसके पौधे अच्छे हैं। साथ साथ कार्बन फुटप्रिंट रिड्यूस करने के आप अपने एक दूसरे के एक हेल्दी कॉम्पिटिशन में आ रहे हैं। सो ये आई एम द सोल्यूशन कॉन्सेप्ट को हमने इस हिसाब से बनाया है कि ग्रीन गड्डी को अब कभी भी कहीं पर भी किसी भी तरीके से फुल प्रूफ सोल्यूशन है, किसी भी स्पीड पे गाड़ी चले, कोई मेंटेनेंस से ज़्यादा रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं रहती है, वंस इन अ वीक इसको वाटरिंग करनी होती है। ये सारा का सारा फुल प्रूफ सोल्यूशन बनाने में 3-3.5 साल की मेहनत लगी। और स्वामी विवेकानंद का एक और कोट है जो उन्होंने कहा था कि अगर हम वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड को फॉलो करने की बात करेंगे तो हम सेल्फ रिलायंट नहीं हो पाएंगे। कोई कॉन्सेप्ट वहाँ से आएगा, हम वेट करेंगे और उसको हम कॉपी करेंगे तो हमारा अपना कुछ नहीं होगा। हम अपना कुछ शुरू करेंगे और उसको आगे बढ़ाएंगे तो आने वाली जनरेशन बड़ा प्राउडली उसको एक्सेप्ट कर पाएंगी। ये कोशिश जो मैंने शुरू करी थी अपने बच्चों को आंसर देने के लिए करी थी कि बच्चा मैंने अपना एक आहुति जो दे सकता था इस योगदान में अपनी आहुति दी है। इस यज्ञ में मैं आप सबको इन्वाइट करता हूँ उसके भागीदार बने। इस बार समय की थोड़ी कमी थी और हेल्थ वाइज भी मैं गाड़ी लेके नहीं आ पाया, बट अगली बार मुझे आप जल्दी कोशिश करें कि मैं गाड़ी लेकर के यहाँ पे आऊँ और कुछ गाड़ी यहाँ कन्वर्ट करें रायपुर में, बिकॉज रायपुर अपने आप में इतना बड़ा ग्रीन आपने कॉरिडोर बना ही रखा है। सो वी शुड ट्राई समथिंग न्यू हियर। थैंक यू सो मच। जय हिंद।
So nice, so nice, so lovely, so lovely. Yeah. So before we invite a few questions from the audience, let me attempt a summing up. But before summing up, let me say a few words about myself also. मैं रमाकांत तिवारी इंडियन स्कूल ऑफ माइनिंग धनबाद से माइनिंग इंजीनियरिंग की पढ़ाई करके मैंने पहले इनिंग्स कोल इंडिया के साथ 22 साल की नौकरी की PSU। आई लेफ्ट दैट एज जनरल मैनेजर इन 2008, देन जॉइंड द प्राइवेट सेक्टर। प्राइवेट सेक्टर की जर्नी हमारी 2 ही कंपनीज की रही। एक कंपनी में 1 साल करीब रहा वाइस प्रेसिडेंट ग्रुप में, जिंदल के ग्रुप में दिल्ली में। देन वेंट टू महान कोल लिमिटेड, which was a joint venture, 50-50 joint venture of Hindalco and Essar at Singrauli. It was a greenfield coal mining company, and there my real exposure started with the development sector. Greenfield coal mining, जैसा किसी ने कहा था कि in the mining field ना, you find normally mining, forests, poverty, and sometimes terrorism, crime, नक्सलिज्म, also they all go together. इसके बहुत सारे रीजन हैं, सोशियो-इकोनॉमिक जाते हैं। और जो हमारे PSU की लंबी कहानी है, जो बहुत सारे इन्वेस्टमेंट्स के पब्लिक मनी के वो घेटोज बने अपने विद इन द कम्युनिटी, विद इन द बाउंड्री वॉल, बहुत सारी चीज़ें हुई, बाहर बहुत इम्पैक्ट नहीं हुआ। आई एम नॉट सेइंग दिस एनी इंटेंशन विद एनी मेलिस इन माइंड, बट द इम्पैक्ट हैव नॉट बीन दैट रिमार्केबल। तो व्हाट आई डिड, मैंने VDI अहमदाबाद, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप डेवलपमेंट इंस्टीट्यूट अहमदाबाद के प्रोफेसर उस वक्त थे सीनियर फैकल्टी प्रोफेसर अजय दीक्षित, उनको एक मेल लिखा है कि हमारे यहाँ दिस इज द सिचुएशन, पीपल आर कमिंग फॉर जॉब्स, दे डू नॉट हैव एजुकेशन, स्किल्स एंड एनीथिंग, कैन वी डू समथिंग टू प्रमोट सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयमेंट और एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप? दिस इज द एग्जैक्ट वर्डिंग व्हाट आई सेड, तुमने मेल लिखा एंड ही केम ऑन हिज ओन एंड आगे खोल दी उसके बाद उन्होंने उन्होंने कहा कि आप 5 साल के अंदर जॉब छोड़ो, टर्न इनटू सोशल एंटरप्रेन्योर। इस बात बहुत लंबी कहानी मैं नहीं बताऊंगा। I left my job after 5 years. There were so many reasons, and I've been into so many things, including some initiatives in the development sector. In Delhi, there is one Healthy Aging India, which is associated, no? But the heart lies in doing something really meaningful, in empowering people in true sense. एक बार मछली खिलाने का नहीं, मछली मारना सिखाने का, that kind of work, and it is possible. मैं बहुत थ्योरी में नहीं जाऊँगा, और तो किताबी कीड़ा टाइप का रहा हूँ, बहुत सारी किताबें प्रोफेसर दीक्षित ने पढ़ाई हैं, बट हमारे प्रोफेसर MDI गुड़गांव में कहा करते थे, IIM अहमदाबाद के फाउंडर प्रोफेसर थे प्रोफेसर SD कुलकर्णी, गांधी जी के ग्रैंड सन इन लॉ थे, उनके ग्रैंड डॉटर के हस्बैंड थे, ही वाज वन ऑफ द फाउंडर, PhD उन्होंने हार्वर्ड में किया था। वो हमेशा बोला करते थे कि मैनेजमेंट इज नॉट थ्योरी, इट्स प्रैक्टिस। सेम चीज़ यहाँ हमने प्रैक्टिशनर्स को देखा, 4 डिफरेंट फ्लेवर्स PSU से, हार्ट के क्लोज 40% को भी बताया नहीं, मैं FMS के ग्रेजुएट हैं, उन्होंने कैसे ब्रह्मपुत्रा बैडमिंटन को लेकर, वॉलीबॉल को लेकर, सी द काइंड ऑफ वर्क दैट शी हैज डन। देन वी फाइंड विजन को लेकर पैशन एंड ग्रासरूट से कैसे काम कर रही है। कारगिल, अ जायंट ऑफ कंपनी, मल्टीनेशनल, वर्किंग द फूड वैल्यू चेन एक्चुअली, and building their corporate, you know, responsibility around that. And the innovator, entrepreneur, true sense, social entrepreneur, Gaurav, green the अचानक दिमाग में आया and proof of concept है, it's already working and जो compliances हैं उसके लिए भी काम कर रहे हैं. So and I say I've been a witness to the evolution. Especially मैं grateful सिर्फ इनके लिए और आपके लिए नहीं, जो आप अभी तक यहाँ इतनी देर तक मैराथन में, it was not a sprint, it was a marathon. बैठे हुए हैं, एब्जॉर्व कर रहे हैं, पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं. आप सबके लिए ग्रेटिट्यूड और स्पेशल ग्रेटिट्यूड और कांग्रेचुलेशन दोनों ही रोशन जी के लिए. रोशन जी को मैंने पहली बार देखा जबलपुर में जिडास में इंटरनेशनल 2 कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में वी वेर टुगेदर. वहाँ से इनकी जर्नी मैंने देखी है. हाउ ही हैज बीन इवॉल्विंग एंड सच अ प्रोलिफिक, यू नो, प्रोडक्टिव पर्सन. इतनी किताबें लिखते हैं, इतना बढ़िया सा मैगजीन हैंडल करते हैं एंड विजन कितना बड़ा है, राइट. जुड़े हुए गाँव की जगह टाइप की जगह, रायगढ़ से रायपुर से दिल्ली. आई नो his canvas is going to the world. So with that I think I'll invite 1 or 2 questions if there are any, so that we may respond to them. Otherwise, yeah. Otherwise we'll call it a day. Yeah. So thank you so much everyone. Thank you.